Let's do a little garden tour. Here is Ladybank's rose that I have to constantly keep cutting back because she will grow into a beast and destroy the fence. I love this beautiful crepe myrtle. I'm not sure what variety it is. I have a tag somewhere, but it's doing really well. I planted it a year before last, and it is about 5.5 feet tall, so doing well. Lovely little cross vine. This is its third year and finally starting to really get some growth on it. I need to clean the bird bath every day because it gets algae. Love this little pot, this little hanging basket of impatiens and creeping Jenny. So sweet. This crepe myrtle was doing really well, but I think it is covered in scale, and I am thinking about moving it to the front where it will get more sun because it's under this canopy of this mulberry tree, and it was growing faster when it was getting more sun, and it hasn't bloomed yet this year. So I think it's gonna get moved and we'll do something about that scale. This little garden was a cute little rock garden, but we've had some drainage issues, so I started pulling it out. I'm gonna rework the whole thing. This little peach tree is probably going to a new home. We don't really have room for it, so this is a mess. Overlook that, please. How sweet is this little windchime birdhouse? And oh no, this has suddenly got some yellow leaves on it and a ton of mosquitoes, but I love these little sun patients are so adorable, and more creeping Jenny. This mimosa tree is huge, and it was full of blooms about a month ago. Beautiful. This little fuchsia looking pretty decent, but typically they don't do well once the heat really sets in, and we're about to be there. I haven't watered yet this morning, so everybody's a little parched. We have tons of ants on this mimosa tree and a baby there I'm saving for someone. This little hanging basket. This creeping Jenny came back from last year. I left this out all winter. It's finally starting to really take off, and then these little impatiens in there. This is my first year to actually be able to have shade plants in the garden. And here's our little dry creek that we did for drainage. And oh, the gargoyle. He was a little scary, so I gave him a flower garland. These crepe myrtles I planted 20 years ago. I'm doing well. I love the colors of them. This one is a brighter purple. This one's a little more muted. Got these caladiums in the pot with sweet potato vine that the grasshoppers have been really enjoying. What do? Little berry in the back asleep. This really just started getting shady last year, so I've been able to put these little shade plants, caladiums, which I could never have before. I'm really loving these hanging baskets this year. This sweet little mandevilla. I've got this little licorice plant and this vinca vine, so they're pretty cute. My rose got black spot. We had a lot of rain this spring, and I went ahead and cut most of it back after it this last flush of blooms. We'll see how it does. It was doing really well in the beginning, but the rain, I think, was just too much for it. Got a little eggplant action going on here with fighting bugs, of course, as you see. And then the cucumbers are starting to come along with some little baby cucumbers in there. And a little, just threw some moss rose in there. They'll rebloom. They already had a whole round, and some dichondria just to fill that little spot. In this pot, I have some little randomness. A milkweed that was gifted to me. Any other day, I could remember the name of these guys, but they just keep coming back. I just leave them in the pot. And some moss rose, and I am not really sure what this guy right here is. He was also gifted to me, so I don't know. And this, I think, is a weed. So a neighbor gave me this tomato plant, and when it had been gifted to her with some others, and they were in a plastic bag with hardly any root, I did plant it immediately the same day. We're getting tomatoes, but the foliage was really damaged, and I went ahead and pruned it, but it's actually, you know, doing okay, getting little tomatoes. This is a menagerie of things in here, mostly moss rose, which needs to be deadheaded, and this little lily that comes back every year. I just leave it. It does its thing. I mean, I don't care. I like it. Here is another tomato plant that grows and grows, but never gives me a tomato. It has some little flowers, so we'll see if it's gonna start. I do have a little marigold in there to help with bug control. And here is the garden spider. This pot has this barrel has, it's the post for the lights. It has a wisteria in it that bloomed really well earlier in the spring, and it's doing okay considering it's in a very shallow barrel. Got some begonias, some moss rose, and a little tiny purslane that just was a gift, popped up on its own. More moss rose. Again, everybody needs to be watered. I haven't watered yet. Okay, so this is a little pepper pot. We have had so many peppers off of it, and then something came along and defoliated it, but it has a whole bunch of new growth here. And then here's the strawberries, which have been really abundant. Really enjoying. I've been eating them, of course. I have a little grouping of perennials that are baking in the sun that I was going to use for a little garden. I just haven't started yet. And there's a little bit of purslane that was gifted to me. This is what is your name again? I've got it on the pot. Delphinium. Again, they've been sitting here baking because I need to move them. Look, a weed. Then a little Thai basil. This, what is this? Is a penstemon. Little lavender, more Thai basil, and then what's this guy? I always get the sage and Nagara mixed up for some reason, but it's an autumn sage. All of these little perennials I got to go in a side garden. Everybody's thirsty, which I just haven't planted yet, so I'm hoping that they hang in here for me. Love this Lysianthus that has just been in this pot since last year, and it came back for me, and it, I think, is my favorite plant of the year. It is just so beautiful. And then I have a mandevilla stuck in here, and this is where everybody comes to be, I guess, pampered or protected. I've got a bunch of little mimosa sprouts in here that I pulled out of the yard that I'm saving for people. And then this was actually a crepe myrtle branch that I just stuck in here, and it actually rooted. So here's another little mandevilla. Now that begonia is struggling. I probably need to move it because it's getting too much sun. And then here is my moss rose nursery. This just came back from last year, and I keep digging some out and putting it elsewhere and also gifting it. It's pretty fun to be able to gift things in exchange. Here's just some little mint, eucalyptus, and Spanish lavender. And then here's another barrel with another wisteria, begonias. There's a little bit of purslane in here, some moss rose, got this little celosia, 2 different kinds of begonias, as in the other one. More little purslane and moss rose. They're so cute. This one doesn't grow as tall as the other one, but it's doing pretty well. I planted these last year, left them in over the winter. They overwintered here, and I think they're doing pretty well considering they don't have much room to spread their roots. So here's a far up view. And I have the sky. Might be getting too hot over here, even though they like the sun. Got this canna and this little moss rose. And over here, this little guy has just been in this pot for a couple of years, and this year just got a lot of little buds on him. So cute. And that is pretty much it for the backyard garden tour. I figured I might as well do a front yard garden tour also. I did just water out here, so this gets a lot of sun out here. Right now there's a little bit of shade, morning sun, but I have this little bougainvillea that I throw in the garage and forget about over the winter, but it's starting to come back pretty well. Sorry, for some reason we have a street sweeper coming through, which makes no sense since the street doesn't need to be swept, but yeah, our city tax dollars at work. Okay, so we have this red rose bush. Love it. I have no idea the variety. I picked it up probably at Home Depot a few years ago. Got this sweet potato vine. They love it here. They always go crazy. Every year I have to trim it back constantly, but I don't mind. I don't hate it. And then over here, sorry, my water timer is going off. Over here, let me get out of the way. Some little moss rose seeded itself, or whatever, spread itself in here, and have this coleus. I don't know the variety. Sorry, I would be considered a haphazard gardener. I have basil, which I love to plant up here because it smells good. And then I don't mind the flowers, I'll be honest with you. I did also stick a little rooting of wisteria in this pot. And I have a couple of little baby Persian shields that I'm trying to get to recover if I don't pull him off. This one back here. And then, oh, you guys know the name of this, but I always forget what it's called. It's so sweet and gets little flowers on it, but it also gets smothered by the sweet potato. Coleus. This little, gosh, I think this is Angelonia. Well, I could totally be wrong, because I often am, and I don't see a tag in it, but super sweet. And And then this, I had a, what's this guy? Well, I don't know, maybe I'll put it on the screen if I can think of the name of it. There's some begonias and a canna. The cannas do pretty well in this climate. I just shoved him in there. I had bought him for another project, another pot, but I didn't have room. Then I have some little gumfrinas, and there is a little celosia that falls over when I water. That guy's self-seeded. Got some daisies down here, sweet potato vine, of course petunias, which I know it's getting that time of year where I really need to just give them a giant haircut. And this also is Angelonia, I think so, but got some creeping Jenny in here, and a calla that may or may not do anything. More petunias. They're a little leggy, but I still love them. This little guy up here, he's fun. This porch. Look at the green man. I have this dappled willow that I got for that side garden that I'm planning, that I have the other little plants that are drying out in the backyard. This is also petunias, but they definitely need a haircut. And I also have some grasshoppers, and I found a big fat caterpillar nomming on everything. This is a butterfly pea vine. We'll see what it does. I just stuck some seeds in there. More sweet potato vine, because they're really prolific here in my garden. More petunias. This guy again, which I never know the name of, but love. So cute. More, as I said, I need to really deadhead. Here's the bed with some boxwoods and red begonias, and then this pot that has some caladiums, a white bird, sun patience, make it brighter for you, and a piece of a purple fountain grass. Love that one. This little begonia, no buds on it right now. I think that one of the worms or caterpillars just came through here and just nommed on everything and ate it all up. This is where I found the caterpillar, and I also just found a big grasshopper in here. So I'm not happy about that. We have more petunias, and see, something ate that. Yeah, that little calla lily, and some more angelonia, and I cannot remember what this guy is. Oh, the other one over there. There is a lantana in there, but something ate it. So, no blooms in there anyway. More sweet potato vine. I have this wisteria that was full of blooms in the spring, but now is shooting out some random ones. There's some up at the very top up there. I know I need to trim her and train her a little more, but oh, she's so pretty. And then just these red begonias, boxwoods, and then this guy, which I really like. And I've got some grasses in here, and then this sunshine ligustrum, which, sorry you can't get a good, I'm training, he was a little bit of a cone, and I'm trying to let him get some growth on him before I really heavily prune him up. I've just pruned him a little bit last week, but do you guys ever find that after you fertilize, your garden looks angry at you? Because that's how I feel. I fertilized the other day, and everybody's mad. They're all mad about it. I thought they'd be happy, but they're not. Anyway, this is what we got going on in the front yard. But I want to move that crepe myrtle out here, and I have all those other little plants, and I want to put the dappled willow, which can get quite large, but I need a few more rocks. I'm going to cut out that grass, add some soil, and eventually get to that. And then here I have this purple fountain grass and some little companion grasses, because honestly, it's hard to keep the grass growing here. So that's what we got going on over here. And the tree is dying. The grass is full of weeds because nobody in my neighborhood ever wants to do any kind of yard work except me. So I have bare patches where I've ripped weeds out. And that's what we got going on here. It's not a big garden, but it makes me happy. And I enjoy working in it. If I had a bigger place, I definitely wouldn't be able to have a job. Anyway, thanks for coming along with me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe.